Good morning. My name is Sister Mary Lechtenberg, a member of the pastoral care team here at Mount St. Francis Center. We welcome all of you who have gathered here in the Clare Chapel, those who are watching on closed circuit system in our buildings, and to Sister Norma Jean's family and friends who are joining us via live stream. We come together to honor her and to remember her. The chorus of the song goes something like this. I'm ready when you call me, Lord, but just give me a little more time. And I think from your response, we can all identify with this. Norma Jean's time came so suddenly. Sister Death visited us once again, and it was such an unexpected visitor. It seems rude for death to come in this way, catching us off guard and making us all feel a little unbalanced. However, our deepest selves know that there is a blessing in this quick passing, because we believe that Norma Jean's prayer was, I am ready when you call me, Lord. Huddling together in disbelief last Thursday afternoon, many folks, family members, former students, co-workers, neighbors on 4th floor south, sister classmates, and Mount St. Francis Center staff shared their relationship with Sister Norma Jean Holthaus with one another. Since we have a little more time, we gather in the presence together today in prayer to remember, believing Norma Jean is in the presence of divine love and joy. We continue our service by singing together in this book beside you, number 610, 610. Shall we gather at the river? At this time we will sing verses 1 and 2, number 610.
A reading from 1 John. Beloved, let us love one another, because love is God. Everyone who loves is begotten of God and has knowledge of God. The one without love has known nothing of God, for God is love. God's love was revealed in our midst in this way. God sent the Son to the world that we might have the life through Christ. Love then consists in this, not that we have loved God, but that God has loved us and has sent Jesus to us. The Word of God.
Thanks be to God.
Our response to this reading is number 602, I have loved you. Number 602, we will sing all the verses. At this time, we invite many of you to share your memories of Sister Norma Jean. some have been sent to us and will be read. And we invite those who are present to raise your hand. A microphone will be brought to you. Please state your name and stand if you are able.
My name is Sister Nona Meyerhofer, and I have two of the remembrances that were sent in. The first is from Sister Nyla Meyerhofer. I lived with Sister Norma Jean in Ionia, Iowa. We taught at St. Boniface School, a rural school with grades 1 through 12. Norm taught in the room with 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade students, and I had the 6th, 7th, and 8th graders. Norm liked to say, we taught half of the school, or 6/8 of the elementary grades. On Saturday, she'd practice her driving skills on the playground lot. She got really good at it and became our official driver. We did sacristan work together, and Norm always arranged the flowers for the altars. We often would go for nature walks on the Sunday afternoon, and she loved it. She was a fun person to live with, and I can attest to her driving skills. She often took me to the doctor or a short trip here in town. The second is from Sister Marilyn Frecking. When Norma Jean first came to Corpus Christi, she had some active students in her class. One day, one student in particular kept getting up and walking around. Norma Jean, in her frustration, turned to him and said, "Sit down." He sat right on the floor. We often laughed about that.
I am Sister Amory Dunn. This is from her niece, Lisa. I knew Sister Norma Jean had taught in Chicago in a predominantly black neighborhood, but I found out more details when she and I had a phone conversation last June, just a few weeks after the murder of George Floyd. She told me she started working at Corpus Christi School in 1965, the year I was born, until 1978. She spoke fondly of her years there and was appreciative of the people, the community, and also the opportunities to stand on the side of equality and justice. She told me she was riding the bus one time, looked around, and realized she was the only white person on the bus. She marched in marches that Martin Luther King Jr. was also in. She recalled driving with 4 or 5 other sisters from Chicago to Washington, D.C. for the Poor Man's March in June of 1968, just a couple months after Martin Luther King Jr. was assassinated. She did a lot of the driving, which she didn't mind. She said this time shaped her and her mission, and it clearly did. So I appreciated this conversation last June and everyone I had with Aunt Norma Jean. I regret not having more conversations with her earlier in life and in our shared careers. I have also taught and now work as a school counselor. Aunt Norma Jean was wise, gentle, and courageous, and let's not forget her sense of humor. She helped and guided so many of us in so many ways. Rest in peace, Norma Jean. Enjoy the reunion with your parents and siblings.
I'm Sister Kathy Lynch, and Sister Bev Eichler asked me to share. And what she wanted people to know is that she and Norma Jean called each other every day. Even after the restrictions were lifted between the houses, they called each other. And so Bev says she'll be greatly missed. She loved the care and the communication that they shared.
I'm Sister Mary Kleistert, and I have a note here from Sister Frances Nospish. Norma Jean was my teacher in 3rd, 4th, and 5th grades at St. Mary's School in North Washington. I think it was her first mission. At least I know she was a new teacher, and she had 3 grades all packed in a rather small room. Some of the troublesome boys in the classroom often caused some mischief. She tried to tramp down some of the boys by seating some of the most well-behaved students around the troublesome ones. As one of those more well-behaved students, I did sometimes run afoul on a couple of those boys. When she would leave the room briefly, she would put one student in charge, and that student could write on the blackboard the name of anyone who was misbehaving. One day she made the mistake of leaving one of those troublesome boys in charge, and she found my name on the board upon her return. Of course, I had to take the punishment, but I do not remember that boy ever again taking charge. In these later years, as a fellow sister, I found Norma Jean to be enthusiastic, friendly, and helpful. She seemed to be fully engaged in whatever ministry she was doing and always eager for conversation. So Norma Jean, thank you for the role you played in my young life and for conversations over the year. I will miss you already.
I am Sister Mary Lee Cox. I joined St. Mary's in North Washington in 5th grade, and Sister Norma Jean was the first sister that I ever had as a teacher, and she was so tall. But she knew how to take care of all of us in that classroom. When I got my first report card from her, I got a D+ in handwriting. Now, I had been in Ionia Public School in a one-room schoolhouse before that, but I knew that Sister Nathan knew that I could change that handwriting very quickly by working hard on it. And believe me, I did.
My name is Sister Kathy Knipper. I lived with Sister Norma Jean for 5 years at St. Mary's in Waterloo. As I completed novitiate, she called me almost every day wondering if I had yet found a job. And I said no, I had not. Would I please come to St. Mary's in Waterloo for an interview? She had a teaching position. And so I did agree to visit. Visited the school on Friday, February 14th. Think about February 14th and Valentine's Day and a Friday. It was the most rambunctious day to visit and be interviewed. Nonetheless, I accepted the position and lived with Norma Jean for 5 years. After that was all said and done, she and I would talk about how she consistently called me early in the morning when I was completing the novitiate, looking for this teaching job. I said, Norma Jean, you stalked me. You are right. I stalked you, and look what I found. And my second story relates to this book called Norma Jean Jumping Bean. It's a little chapter book about a kangaroo who, because she does what kangaroos do, jump, gets in trouble, delights people, frustrates people, etc. When I lived with, first of all, this book was in my home as I was growing up, and I read it to my youngest sister. She was much younger than I, and when my family got to know Norma Jean, this book came up again. Norma Jean, Jumping Bean. They always called her Norma Jean, Jumping Bean. So last week when she passed so quickly, I called to talk with my family and let them know, and my dad said, is that Jumping Bean? So it's a fond memory, and I gave that book to Norma Jean eons ago, Now it's back to me. I am sure she's jumping for joy.
My name is Father Ken Glazer. I knew Sister Norma Jean from my time at St. Mary's Parish in Waterloo, now called Queen of Peace. I was also the director of campus ministry at St. Stephen the Witness Catholic Student Center at the University of Northern Iowa. I'm also from North Washington, Iowa, but I wasn't born when she was there. So, you can blame my older siblings, she probably had some of them. But on behalf of the students and the staff of St. Stephen the Witness, I do want to thank Sister Norma Jean for the many ways that she shared her time and her talent with our faith community, specifically as a spiritual director. For her family that's watching, I also want to thank you for allowing her to live this vocation and live it to the fullest. But also to you, the Franciscan community. Some of you may say I look a little familiar. I am Sister Arlene Glazer's great nephew, and so I spent a lot of time here while she was still living. But at St. Stephen the Witness, Sister Norma Jean, she was very, very involved with the spiritual direction, not only of students, but also of our staff at the Student Center as well. She organized our Busy Persons Retreat. She offered a ministry of presence, as she would call it, providing personal support for the students and the staff alike. She would also like to encourage vocations, not only to the religious life, but she was also supportive of young men that were considering vocations to the priesthood as well. Norma Jean was very proud of this Franciscan community. This was reflected in her Franciscan values that she embodied, but also in the way that she lived and modeled her vows of poverty, chastity, and of obedience. She was a joyful presence of God's love for her and her love for others. Sister Norma Jean walked with many young people, challenging them to be the person that Jesus wanted them to be, looking beyond the expectations of what the University of Northern Iowa perhaps would say. Get a degree, get a career, and you'll be successful, and you'll be rich, and you'll be happy. But she really challenged them to be a child of God and to follow the dreams that God wanted them to do as well. Now I do need to share, Sister Norma Jean and I did not always agree with each other. There were times that we had strong disagreements, but we both had great respect for each other, for the experiences we had in ministry, but also for the gifts and talents that both of us brought to the table. We both came from very strong family German backgrounds. She knew many of my family members and many of the family members that I grew up with, being from North Washington and the Ionia area, and from her teaching careers. But we also came from that gift of knowing that we had a vocation that we shared, trying to do what was best for the Archdiocese of Dubuque. Although I cannot be at the funeral with you on Wednesday, I did want to come today and to join you in prayer, celebrating the life of Sister Norma Jean. It was a life that was very, very well lived. Thanking her for the gift of presence that she offered, but the gift of spiritual direction that she guided many to as well. Today we do pray that she rests in peace.
I'm Sister Bertha Cruzy. I have a message here from Sarah Otting, who is an associate and friend of Norma Jean. I met Sister Norma Jean almost 25 years ago when I was a student at UNI in Cedar Falls. I don't remember my first encounter with her, but during those college years, she became my spiritual director and she became a close friend, especially after I moved to Dubuque, almost 15 years ago now. Sister Norma Jean always seemed to know what to say, often just when I needed it. She was a great listener, and sometimes I just needed to get something off my chest. She never judged and always made me feel better when I departed. The one memory I have of Norma Jean from UNI was the February she spoke at the Masses on Consecrated Life Sunday. Obviously, she talked about religious life, but I still remember her talking about the single life being a vocation. And honestly, I think that was the first time I had ever really heard of being single as a vocation. I have even given a talk on the single life and always remember that talk. Even during the pandemic, although we couldn't see each other, as the last person I went out to eat with before the pandemic was Norma Jean to celebrate her birthday in February of 2020. We did talk and even FaceTime met. I shall cherish these memories and our friendship and shall miss my friend dearly.
My name is Dorothy Swiniger. I live here at Francis House. Norma Jean's death was a shock, of course, to us. I did not know her real well, but I always had easy conversations with her. And there are two qualities that I kind of think about. Openness, that was certainly one quality. And the other one is she tried to look at things in a positive way. We both worked in Chicago. We talked about racial issues any number of times. And I have a little memory left over from last Thursday. I met her, I think, about 11 o'clock in the morning. She was walking down the hall and she said, well, how are you? And I said, well, I'm okay. How are you? She said, well, I'm doing. We said, well, we're all doing the best we can. And she said, yes, that's what we do. We're positive. And I want to say that I remember Sarah often coming to Mount St. Francis, and what a good friend she was to Norma Jean. And Father Glazer, I remember you well for your support for Sister Arlene when she was in her dying days, and I was working at Holy Family Hall. So again, we're all just grateful for Norma Jean's life.
I'm Sister Bertha Bonert, and I knew Norma Jean since she became principal at St. Mary's in Waterloo, so probably since 78 or 79. And just as a tag on to what Dorothy said, when Norm came back Thursday, she went to the nurse and she said, I am so grateful that I have been so blessed with good health. And when Nina spoke to me later, she said, I think I'm going to cry all the way home. So this was very unexpected. When we sang the first song about Down by the River, that fit Norm to a T. She liked being near water and usually tried to schedule a retreat someplace where there was water. So this year she said, Bertha, where are you going on retreat? I said, I'm going to Okanawamawak. Do they have a lake? Yes, they have a lake right by the retreat center. Can I go with you? So she has an investment in that retreat that's coming up in July. The other thing 5 of us used to do back in the mid-80s, Father Dan Kepler had a cabin which was more like a house, I think 5 bedrooms overlooking the Mississippi. And we would go up every summer for about 5 days. The beauty of it was the house had no TV and no phones, so we had nobody disturbing us. We had lots of fun, and we probably played cards until 1 o'clock in the morning. We didn't have to worry, but Norm would be up early to watch the sun rise on the Mississippi. And then about 2 weeks ago, I was in her room and just sat and chatted, and I said, Norm, your room is a little cluttered, isn't it? No, it is not. I said, you have an awful lot of plants in here, 29. A couple days later, she called me and she said, Bertha, I do not have 29 plants. I only have 19. Thank you.
Sister Mary, I would like to just say a little something. I am Linda Hawking. I am a fellow switchboard operator of Norma Jean's. I have been so blessed for 7.5 years to be part of her. My most wonderful memory, and this is the way Sister Norma Jean was. Shortly after I started, I worked in the evenings. And lo and behold, we had a severe thunderstorm or tornado. And I'm grabbing for the manual, we have a manual. And I look up, and who's coming down the hall from St. Francis but Sister Norma Jean. She had her bathrobe on, and she was just marching to come and see if I needed any advice or help. And just last night, another fellow switchboard operator, Bobby, her comment was about Norma Jean. When she was on duty, she always knew soon Norma Jean would be coming down the hall. So I just want to say, thank you, Norma Jean. You were such an inspiration, even though you were just part-time. But she touched my life, and I know she touched the other lay people, switchboard operators. May she rest in peace.
Thank you all for sharing these stories of Sister Norma Jean's life. And I know we will continue to share our memories of her in the next days and in the future. Let us pray. Good and gracious God, death calls us together in your presence. May the life gifts of Norma Jean live on in us, who knew her and who admired her dedication to the Franciscan way of life. We thank her for being the presence of Christ to us. Norm, we believe you are gathering at the river with all of the ancestor saints in your family and in the Franciscan family. May we be ever aware of the fragility of life. We ask this through Christ our Lord. Amen. And Norm picked this song, Shall We Gather at the River? We'll close number 610, 610. At this time, as we close our time together, we will sing verse 4.